Okay, plume characteristics. So plume is nothing but emitting gases pattern. Okay, uh, plume is emitting gases. Emitting gases from a stack. Stack or chimney. Okay. The smoke, whatever is there. Okay, smoke or gases. Okay, emitting gases. This is called plume. Okay. So based on this ELR and ALR, we can predict the shape, okay, and whether it is good or bad also we can decide, okay. Based on ELR means environmental lapse rate, adiabatic lapse rate ALR, and wind velocities based on ELR, ALR, and wind velocities. We can predict the shape of plume, okay. And its nature, like whether it is good or bad, whether it is good or bad in viewpoint of dispersion, of pollutants. Pollutants also can be estimated. Okay, we will see some cases. First one, looping plume. Looping plume. When it occurs, we will see what its shape and all. So, temperature versus this one, temperature, this direction temperature, this direction z direction. The velocity distribution may be like this. With height, actually, velocity increases. Wind velocity. Wind velocity u increases with height. With temperature, the lapse rates may be like this. See here, one is ELR, another is ALR. Here, supradiabatic. Supradiabatic means here condition is supradiabatic. Supradiabatic condition means ELR is more than ALR. Understood, no? So this is ALR. This one is ELR. How can you know here whether it is more or not? Means actually the variation of this lapse rate, I mean temperature is decreasing, right, with respect to Z. If you go with height Z, as Z increases, temperature is decreasing. You can see here for a given height, okay, for a given height, uh, the decrement ELR, I mean ELR line decreases more, right? Suppose if you see like this, okay, for a given height, fix the height, then this is the ALR, this is the ELR, which is more? ELR is more, right?
ELR.
For a given height, fix the height, then you will know which is more. So here ELR is more than ALR, that's why it is supradiabatic. Supradiabatic lapse rate is there, means actually environment is stable or unstable?
Unstable.
uh, Unstable. So the stack actually maybe like this. Its direction. This is basically temperature. This is velocity here. Here, let us take this is x direction. This is stack. Stack means chimney. The character of this plume will be like this. Wavy character. At some place it may touch the ground also actually. Note down these characters. Looping plume. It occurs. Looping plume occurs. It is a wavy character first. Looping plume has a wavy character and occurs in supradiabatic environment. So because of wind velocity, its pattern is like this, which produces highly unstable atmosphere. Okay. Highly unstable atmosphere because of rapid mixing. So because wind velocity is there, it mixes with the environment and so unstable. Suppose coming down, it tries to come down. If it is going up, it tries to going up like that. Okay, instability. So due to turbulence, it may touch the ground also sometimes. It may touch the ground. Of course, it is far away from, okay. It may touch the ground far away from the stack, okay, from the stack. But it's not a problem because by that time dispersion might be taken place, okay. Okay. So before dispersion, it may, if it touches, then it's a problem actually. So to avoid premature touching, that means that before dispersion itself, if it touches, it is dangerous. That's why to avoid premature touching, sufficient height of stack is required. Okay. Otherwise, it is very good actually. I mean, dispersion will be very quick. So why it is good means dispersion is very quick, and maybe by the touching time, the dispersion may be completed. Okay. So that's not a problem. If that happens, that's not a problem. Otherwise, before touching, the dispersion is not yet completed, then that would create problems at those locations. Okay. So the problem with this actually, suppose automobile exhausts cannot be dispersed well because they are released at lower levels. The smoke released from automobiles so cannot be dispersed well. See, from factories, chimneys will be there. So because of those chimneys, the plume character will be like this. So that's why it is good. Otherwise, uh, if automobile exhaust may be, will be at a very low level of the ground, so they may not disperse well actually. This is about looping plume. Okay. So major things are here: wavy character, quick mixing will be there. So at some locations it may touch the ground also. It may be either premature or completely mixed one. So based on that we can decide, okay, whether it is good or bad. So automobile exhaust may not be dispersed well. This is looping plume. Second one, neutral. Neutral plume. Neutral plume with, it occurs when there is no wind at all. Okay. And ELR equal to ALR. Wind velocity 0. No wind actually. No wind. And ELR equal to ALR. Almost both are very near. ELR almost equal to ALR. Okay. So then what happens in the stack? So it goes up actually because of lightweight. Steadily it goes up because wind also not there. That's why. So then this is called neutral plume. So neutral plume is the upward vertical rise of the plume from the stack. From the stack, which occurs when the ELR equal to ALR. Almost okay. ELR is very near to the ALR. So why it is going up means because it's high temperature, its density is very less compared to surrounding temperature, surrounding air. That's why it goes up actually. The upward lifting of the plume will continue till it reaches an air of density similar to that of the plume itself. Okay. So understood now? It's very simple. ELR equal to ALR, neutral actually, no wind, and the air, I mean the gases released gases density is lesser than obviously surrounding air because of its high temperature. So it tries to goes up. So wherever its density is matches, then up to that location it goes and stops. Okay, this is neutral plume. Next, third one. Koning plume. Koning plume. Okay. That is, suppose wind is there in neutral environment, then what happens? With respect to height, velocity, wind velocity is like this. Okay. And neutral, I mean environment is neutral like this. It means very near. DLR is very near to ALR. ALR almost equal to ALR. Okay, very near. Then what happens? So wind velocity is there, obviously. Steadily it goes like this. Dispersion will be steady manner like this, like a cone. Okay. Coning. Okay. The neutral, note down, the neutral plume becomes coning. Coning when wind velocity is greater than greater than 32 kilometer per hour. And when cloud cover blocks the solar radiation okay, when cloud cover blocks the solar radiation and the wind velocity is 32 more than 32 kmph, then cooling plume will occur. And one more condition actually, cooling plume also occurs under subadiabatic conditions. Okay, subadiabatic means ELR is less than ALR. Okay. So, under such kind of conditions, actually, environment is stable, right? Under such conditions, environment is slightly stable. And there is a limited vertical mixing. There is a limited vertical mixing. That means vertical direction it cannot go. Okay. Vertical mixing. Thereby, the probability of air pollution in the area. Thereby, probability of air pollution in the area may be more. Air pollution in that area increases. Okay, probability increases obviously. So, in subadiabatic conditions, stability will be there. That means dispersion will be very less. Okay, because of this wind velocity, only horizontal mixing is taking place. There is no vertical mixing. Okay, in subadiabatic conditions or in neutral conditions, basically the vertical mixing is very less. Only horizontal mixing is going on here because of wind velocity. So it is diluting because of wind velocity only. It is not going, it's not going up. If it goes up means actually it gets more and more wind, more and more air actually. That's why dispersion takes place. It's not going up means, so obviously concentration will be more. Only horizontal mixing is going on here. So horizontal mixing, suppose before touching the ground, dispersion is not good. Then in that area, pollution will be more. Okay, before touching the ground, this core, air pollutant concentration may be more because dispersion not yet took place. It means that creates a problem actually. Cooling plume. Okay. Next one. Fourth one, fanning plume. Fanning. Wind velocity is there. You can see the inversion. Okay, inversion is there. Inversion means more stable, right, environment. So that's why okay, it goes like this. So actually here it occurs in extreme inversion conditions. That is ELR is negative. ELR is negative. Okay. The emission will spread only horizontally. The emissions will spread only horizontally. As it cannot lift due to extremely stable environment. Extremely stable environment. So negative means stable environment, extremely stable. So it cannot go up because of wind velocity is going horizontally. That's all. Okay. No vertical mixing. No vertical mixing takes place. Plume will simply extend. Extend horizontally over large distances. Large distances. Okay. See, it's very dangerous actually. It is going large distances and it may touch the ground also. Okay. So that's why the solution is actually in areas where such conditions are caused by radiation inversion. Radiation inversions. High rise stacks are required. High rise stacks. Rising higher than the usual inversion layer. And the usual inversion layer may be adopted. Suppose up to 200 meters inversion layers are happening, then the stack height must be more than 200 meters, like that. Okay, that is one solution actually. Suppose the inversion is due to subsidence inversion. It may not be due to radiation inversion. So if the inversion is due to subsidence, then there is no solution at all. There is no solution, as this kind of inversion is extends to very large heights. Large heights means suppose 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers, it extends actually. So it's not possible. Okay, providing 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers stack is not possible. That's why there's no solution at all. If inversion is due to subsidence, there's no solution. If it is due to radiation, it may be about 200 meters, 300 meters. Stack can be provided up to that depth, okay, up to that height, and can be avoided, okay. So this is about fanning. Next one is lofting plume. Lofting. Actually here near the ground, lesser velocities, lesser velocity of wind, and temperature is like this. See, inversion is there at lower levels. After that, no inversion. After that, supradiabatic actually. Up to certain height, inversion is there. Then what happens? So it will not, the plume cannot come below that line, inversion. I mean, cannot come to the inversion zone. Okay. So this is lofting. Always the plume will be above that line. Okay. So note down, when there is exists a strong supradiabatic lapse rate above a surface inversion. See, up to here inversion is there. Above this supradiabatic, ELR is more than ALR here. But here inversion up to that level, okay. Inversion, surface inversion. Then the plume is said to be lofting. See, loft means actually a place, I mean, in a house, to place the things. You will have a platform, right, at 6 feet level or 7 feet level. So there is loft. So like this here, loft, above the loft only, above that level only, plume will be there. It cannot come down actually. That's why it is lofting actually. Such a plume has minimum downward mixing. As its downward motion is prevented by inversion. But the upward mixing will be quite turbulent and rapid. If in superadiabatic conditions, basically mixing will be rapid, right? So mixing takes place in upward direction. It cannot come down because of inversion. So the dispersion of pollutants will be rapid. The dispersion of pollutants will be rapid actually, rapid, but will not come to the ground. But there is no possibility of touching the ground. There is no possibility of touching the ground. So actually this plume is the lofting is the it's a ideal for dispersion of emissions. Okay. This would be the most ideal case. Most ideal case for dispersion of emissions. Okay. Emissions from factories. Okay. Next, if reverse happens, what happened? Exactly reverse to that. That is fumigating. Fumigating plume. So near the ground velocity is more. Okay. Near the ground, superadiabatic, then inversion. Okay. So it cannot go to the inversion zone actually. That's why completely it comes down. Wind velocity is also more near the ground. Okay, then this kind of situation happens actually. It is very dangerous, very poisonous gas. Okay, poisonous gases will be there in the ground level. So that's why it is fumigating. When an inversion layer, note down, when an inversion layer occurs at a short distance, at a short distance, just above the stack. See here, above the stack, short distance, above the top of the stack. Top of the stack, okay, and supradiabatic conditions prevail. Here, supradiabatic. ELR is more than ALR. Okay, their inversion. And supradiabatic conditions prevail below the stack. Then the plume is said to be fumigating. Okay. So pollutants comes down and its concentrations will be very high near the stack. Near the stack means the regions of the near the very high where it touches the ground. This represents quite a bad case. Bad case of atmospheric conditions. Atmospheric conditions for dispersion. See, these two are two extreme things actually. Lofting is very good because inversion is below, supradiabatic is above. The pollution may not come to the bottom actually, to the ground. But here it is exactly reverse case actually. This fumigating, the inversion is above and supradiabatic is below. The complete concentrations will come down only. Okay, the emissions will come down only. Okay, so these are the two just quite opposite cases. So combination of these two can be one more film actually. Combination of this lofting and fumigating. See that combination. That is actually trapping. Trapping film. Trapping here. See, supradiabatic will be there in between of two inversions. First inversion, then supradiabatic, then again inversion. Inversion, inversion. Here supradiabatic. ALR is more than ALR. So you see this. Pollutants trapped between these two inversion zones. Trapped. That's why trapping. Okay. So when inversion layers exist above the emission and below the source. Okay, then naturally the emitted fluid will neither go up nor will it go down. And would remain confined between the two inversions. Okay. So it is also a bad case actually. It is also considered as bad case, as the dispersion cannot go above a certain height. Okay, so somewhere it may come down. It cannot go to the higher levels. That's why it is very bad. It is also a bad case. Okay, trapping. So trapping actually occurs in between of inversions. Adiabatic is there, then it occurs actually. So ground level adiabatic and above the stack level inversion is there, then fumigating. Then above the stack level supradiabatic, and below that actual inversion is there, then it is lofting. Complete inversion, then some wind velocities are there, then obviously it is the fanning case. Coning means neutral with sufficient wind velocity is coning. Neutral fluid means no wind velocity, just it goes up actually. This is also a good case actually. Looping means supradiabatic, completely supradiabatic, then wavy character. So very few cases only are available. So easily you can remember. Complete supradiabatic, looping, neutral with no wind, it goes up. Neutral with wind velocity, it's like a cone shape, that's why it is coning. So inversion, no mixing actually, it simply moves horizontally, that is fanning. Lofting, it will be above always, it will be below always in fumigating, trapped in between. Easy, గుర్తుంటాయి కదా, సింపులే కదా. 7 cases.
Yes.
Design of stack height. Okay. Stack height, how much should be there? That means chimney height. Minimum chimney height. That is actually H equal to 74 QP to the power of 0.27, where H equal to chimney height in meters, QP equal to particulate matter PM emission, particulate matter emission in tons per hour, tons per hour. Okay, it is empirical formula. In case of SO2, H equal to 14 times of QS. S means sulfur, sulfur dioxide. Okay, QS power 1 by 3. Here QS equal to SO2 emission in kg per hour. Okay, kg per hour. And the whatever obtained values must be, the above values must be the calculated, the H values calculated above should be further subjected to the following minimum values. Suppose if you get some small value, then minimum values should be adopted. Okay. Number 1, for chimneys, adopted for industries in general, except thermal power plants. Thermal power plants. Okay, that value minimum 30 meters needs to be provided. Suppose in that formula, if you get suppose 25 meters or something like that, then you should provide 30. Okay, minimum 30 meters should be there. Thermal power plants, about 200 megawatts. Megawatt capacity 2 and below 500 megawatts capacity. So height must be minimum 220 meters. Above 500 megawatts capacity, minimum 275 meters. Okay. Understood, no? Example, in a factory, particulate matter emission is given as 0.8 tons per hour. Find the height of stack required in meters. Okay, so formula 74 qp to the power of what? To the power of
0.27.
0.27, which is equal to 74, that is tons per hour. So 0.8 to the power of 0.27, which is equal to 74 into 0.8 to the power of 0.27, 69.67 meters, which is more than 30 meters. So adopt h equal to 69.67 meters. Okay. In a factory, SO2 emission is given as 2.5 kg per hour. Find the height of stack required in meters. So formula 14 times of qs to the power of 1 by 3, that is 14 qs 2.5 to the power of 1 by 3. Into 2.5 to the power of 19 meters. See, this value is less than 30 meters, right? So adopt h equal to 30 meters. If you get less than 30 meters, provide minimum 30 meters. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next. Okay, then so we will derive that lapse rate, adiabatic lapse rate. Dry adiabatic lapse rate. DALR. You know, from fluid mechanics basics, we know the pressure variation dP by dz equal to, as you go up, rho into g gamma. You know, P equal to rho g h, right? dP by dh equal to rho z. dP by dh is rho z, right? So we are going in upward direction, that's why minus rho z. Okay, dP by dz is clear? dP by dz is minus rho into g. That means pressure decreases. If you go up, pressure decreases. Okay. And one more formula we know, PV equal to nRT. nRT. You know, P is pressure. P is okay. Pressure in pascals, Newton per meter square. V is volume in meter cube. N equal to number of moles of gas. Ru universal gas constant. Okay. Universal gas constant. Now its value 8.314 joules per mole Kelvin. Okay. T absolute temperature. In Kelvin. Okay. Now number of moles. Number of moles N equal to mass of gas M divided by molecular mass. M dot. That means N equal to mass by molecular mass, right? This is number of moles. You know this. And mass equal to M equal to mass equal to rho into volume. Rho into volume. Density into volume. Mass. So N becomes rho V by M dot. Rho V by M dot. N becomes rho V by M dot. Now what happens here? Substituting that one, PV equal to, in place of N, you can substitute rho V by M dot RU into T, right? VV gets cancelled. P equal to rho into RU by M dot into T. So RU by M dot is a new constant. So specific gas constant. Universal gas constant divided by molecular weight, molecular mass is called a specific gas constant. You know, actually for dry air, R value, okay, let us assume this value is capital R, which is equal to R, okay, otherwise, sorry. Specific gas constant. The molecular mass of the environment is how much? Molecular mass of the environment. Can you work out that? M naught equal to how to calculate the M naught per mole? How many grams? Approximately. Nitrogen how much percent? Roughly 0.79, 79% of nitrogen. Nitrogen is what? 14, right? And then 7 into nitrogen into 1 mole of gas. Okay. Air consisting of basically 79% of nitrogen, around 21% of oxygen. Suppose nitrogen means here 14 you can put N2. N2 means I think 28 plus 21% of oxygen means O2 gas. O2 gas 32. Approximately how much it is? N2 and O2.
28.84.
28.84
84.
plus something. Other gases also will be there, no? So he has given 29.964. Taking other gases also 29.964 has taken, and R value will be 8 point 8.314 joules per mole per Kelvin divided by 29.964. What is this? Grams, right? Grams per mole per Kelvin. So that equal to 8.314 by 29.964. Mole cancel. Joules per gram. Oh, sorry, Kelvin is not there here. Sorry, gram per mole. Now joules per gram per Kelvin. If you want to convert into kg, multiply with 1000. 8.314 by 29.964 into 1000 joules per kg per Kelvin. What is this value?
277.466.
277. 277. Check it, ma. 8314 divided by 29.964. 277, huh? Okay. Where it mistake happened actually. అది 8314 కదమ్మా 8134 8314 కరెక్టే కదా
Sir, 8.5.
28 point, sorry, it's 28.984 కదా. So this is not 29 point actually, 28.964. 28.964. Yeah, now it is
287.
287 joules per kg per Kelvin R. That means now P equal to rho RT, right? P equal to rho RT. Our formula is now P equal to rho RT. Rho equal to rho equal to P by RT. Rho equal to P by RT. Now take this formula dP by dz equal to minus rho g, which is equal to minus rho means P by RT. This P by RT. Rho means P by RT into G, right? P by RT into G. Or dP by P, differential equation, dP by P equal to minus G by RT into dz. See, this is the differential equation. dP by P equal to minus G by RT into dz. Okay. Keep the differential equation aside and one more one more formula. P V equal to constant, that is Boyle's law. Isothermal process. PV equal to constant is isothermal process, right? Adiabatic process, PV power gamma equal to constant. Is it correct enough? Adiabatic.
Yes, sir.
Adiabatic process. PV power gamma means V means by rho. Mass by rho to the power of gamma equal to constant, because volume and density are inversely proportional to each other, right? P by rho to the power of gamma is constant. That is actually P rho to the power of minus gamma equal to constant. Okay. That means already we know, but rho equal to P by RT. Substituting there, P into rho. This is rho. Rho means P by RT to the power of minus gamma equal to constant. Then P to the power of 1 minus gamma into T to the power of, see, T in denominator comes to numerator, it is minus plus T to the power of gamma equal to, anyway R is constant, another constant, okay? This is also constant. You can put C dash because C into R something, okay? C into R. Note down like this. C into R to the power of minus gamma, some other constant, C dash. Okay. That means P to the power of 1 minus gamma equal to C dash into T to the power of minus gamma. You know what is gamma also, right? Gamma is Cp by Cv, ratio of specific heats, right? Where gamma equal to Cp by Cv. Specific heat for constant pressure, specific heat for constant volume, Cp by Cv, okay? Now what is differentiate both sides? What happens, you see? 1 minus gamma into P to the power of minus gamma into dP equal to C dash into minus gamma into T to the power of minus gamma minus 1 dt. Just differentiated. Then let us assume this is equation 1, this is equation 2. Second equation divided by first equation. What can be arrived? Second equation divided by first equation. C dash gets cancelled actually. Second divided by first equation. Check it here. dP yeah, 1 minus gamma P to the power of minus gamma into dP divided by P to the power of 1 minus gamma equal to minus gamma T to the power of minus gamma minus 1 dt by, anyway, C dash gets cancelled. T power minus gamma. Yeah, 1 minus gamma into P to the power of minus gamma gets cancelled into dP by P equal to, yeah, T to the power of minus gamma gets cancelled, minus gamma into dt by T. Is it okay? Or dP by P equal to gamma by gamma minus 1 dt by T. Clear? Now,
Yes, sir.
now dp by p value, you know here, what is dp by p? This one, minus g by rt dz, minus g by rt dz. dp by p equal to minus g by rt into dz. Substitute here, minus g by rt dz equal to gamma by gamma minus 1 into dt by t. That means now here we have only temperature versus height, right? Any cancellation here, tt gets cancelled. So obviously minus g by r dz equal to gamma by gamma minus 1 into dt. Okay. Or dt by dz equal to minus g into gamma minus 1 by gamma minus g into gamma minus 1 by gamma into r, 1 by r. Just substitute, we will substitute here. Everything we know. Minus 9.81, gamma minus 1 is 0.4 by 1.4 into r value 270.
287.
So how much it is? Where is it? Right here. dt by dz equal to minus g gamma minus 1 by gamma into r, which is equal to gamma, which is equal to
0.0097.
9.77 into 10 power minus 3. Yeah,
Yeah, yes, sir.
Kelvin per meter. That equal to minus 9.7877 Kelvin per kilometer. Drop of temperature. Okay. Drop same. I mean, Kelvin or drop is actually dt means it can be Kelvin or degree centigrade also same. So minus 9.77 degree centigrade per kilometer. Roughly it is 9.8. So we are calling it as lapse rate. So minus dt by dz is called actually lapse rate, decreasing rate, equal to 9.77 degree centigrade per kilometer. So adiabatic dry air we have taken, dry adiabatic lapse rate equal to 9.77, roughly rounding to one decimal place, it's 9.8 degree centigrade per kilometer. So this is about derivation of dr DALR. Okay. No, Cp minus Cv equal to R, Cp by Cv equal to gamma. Then, yeah, in place of R, you can, yeah, now we'll see dt by dz will be minus G. So in place of gamma, write Cp by Cv minus 1 divided by gamma means Cp by Cv into R. What happens this one? Minus G into Cp minus Cv by Cv into Cp by Cv into R, which is equal to R and Cp minus Cv gets cancelled. So minus G by Cv gets cancelled. Minus G by Cp. Okay. So simply minus G by Cp. So basically CP values. CP equal to 1.005 joules per kg per Kelvin. Joules per kg Kelvin. At STP, okay. At STP, or at 1 atmosphere, at P equal to 1 atmosphere and temperature equal to 298 Kelvin. CP. So of course it is depending on CP value. So CP value may be different, okay. I mean wet condition CP value may be different. That's why. Okay, it's dry condition. That means in dry condition CP value is this one. So depending upon CP value, lapse rate will be there. Okay. Finally, it is depending on CP. Clear? Madhu?
Yeah, yes, sir. Clear, sir.
If it is 6 means actually, see, minus dt by dz equal to g by cp equal to 0.006, right? Degree centigrade per kilometer for wet condition. The cp must be how much? Cp equal to how much? Cp. Sorry, that Cp 1005, right? Not 1.0. It is 1005, I think. Cp. It's not 1.00, it's 1005. Something wrong. 1005. Then only you'll get that answer, right? So 006 means Cp must be, see that 9.81 into, sorry, Cp equal to 9.81 divided by 0.006.
60,
16?
35, sir.
35 joule per kg Kelvin. So lapse rate depends on Cp actually. So Cp must be this much. We'll check it later whether it is correct or not.